Okay, let's unpack this. We're talking about a room that doesn't just, hold things.
Yeah.
It actively looks at your soul, apparently captures it.
And keeps it forever, painted right onto the walls.
Exactly. That's the core kind of chilling concept we're diving into today.
Yeah, we're doing a deep dive into the accounts and stories around Room 17. It's in the Greystone Boarding House. And just to be clear, everything we're discussing, it's all drawn directly from the source material you've shared with us.
Right. So our mission is to really get inside what these sources are telling us about this sealed room, these horrifying paintings, and the really unsettling fate for anyone who goes in.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a journey into a genuinely disturbing story pieced together from whispers and firsthand accounts found in these documents.
So right away, the legend of Room 17, it's really clear in the accounts. It was a place everyone at Greystone just avoided, like seriously avoided.
Not just casually.
No, not at all. People who'd lived there ages wouldn't go near that hallway, especially after dark. And the room itself, locked up tight, sealed for like over a decade. But the stories, they just kept going.
And there was that one big rule, wasn't there? The absolute non-negotiable thing.
Oh yeah. Everyone seemed to know it. The paintings inside were never, ever supposed to be touched. Don't even think about it.
Which brings us to the paintings themselves. What's striking is how they're described.
It really is. The material suggests nobody knew who painted them or how they even got there. They just were, covering every single inch of the walls, dozens and dozens of these eerie, unknown faces.
Each description seems creepier than the last.
Right. And not framed art like you'd expect.
No, the accounts say they were actually part of the plaster.
Exactly, part of the wall itself. Faces twisted and, fear, rage, sorrow, with these eyes that seem to glisten unnaturally.
And the creepiest part, they reportedly stared back, like they followed you.
Yeah, some looked like they were mid-scream, others had eyes that tracked you around the room, and these weren't faces of anyone known there. The descriptions make them sound like something pulled straight out of a nightmare.
Frozen right into the plaster. Wild.
Which leads us straight to the room's alleged function, its purpose.
Which is terrifying.
Totally. According to these accounts, guests who went into room 17, they didn't just walk out later.
No.
Instead, their faces became trapped. Forever. Right there on the walls, joining the others.
So the room didn't just hold you, it became you. Or part of you.
It sounds like it. It became their permanent sort of living tomb, their image just imprinted.
And for years, that's how it stayed. Locked, sealed, just a legend people whispered about.
Until Lena shows up in the accounts.
Right. Lena, tell us about her.
Well, the sources introduce her as new to the boarding house. Young, curious. She's always sketching things in a notebook, that type.
Okay.
And she was specifically warned, apparently, by the landlady, Mrs. Hawthorne, steer clear of the upstairs hallway, don't go near room 17.
But,
Nah.
curiosity, especially when you're told not to do something.
Exactly. And maybe a bit naive about warnings in old, creepy buildings.
Yeah.
The material says she found an old brass key.
Where?
Just tucked away in some forgotten drawer. Well, you can guess what happens next. She waited until the house was dead silent, everyone asleep.
And she tried the key on room 17.
She did, and the description of the door opening, it's really vivid. It reportedly opened with a long, cold breath.
Oh.
And the air inside, still, yet heavy, thick with dust like it hadn't been disturbed in forever.
And once she got inside, it wasn't the quiet that got to her.
No, it was the walls, because, as the accounts put it, they were alive with faces.
Alive with faces, wow.
Yeah, again, not pictures on the wall, they were the wall. Twisted in fear, rage, sorrow. Eyes that didn't just look, they stared back.
Just like the legends described.
Exactly. And the source material really zooms in on one specific face that stopped her. In a corner, the face of a little boy. His hands were clapped over his ears, mouth wide open, like in a silent scream. A look of just pure terror. And something about that face felt different, like a direct warning.
And then something happens, right? The first real supernatural event.
Yeah, this is where it gets undeniably weird. The accounts say, as she stepped closer, the boy's eyes seemed to shimmer, like they were wet paint.
Wet paint? After all this time?
Right. She blinked. And when she opened her eyes again, his mouth, which had been open screaming, was suddenly closed.
Whoa, okay. That's unsettling.
And then the room itself makes its move. The door reportedly slams shut behind her, just boom, on its own.
Oh no!
She tries the knob, naturally, ice cold, wouldn't budge, she's trapped.
And that's when the feeling of the room being active really hits.
Yeah, exactly. She felt something described not as a sound, but like a whisper crawling across her spine. She spins around and realizes, oh my God, every single painting on every wall is now watching her.
Every single one, not just the boy.
All of them. And then it gets even worse. It wasn't even her choice anymore. Her feet wouldn't move. She couldn't run, but her hand.
Her hand?
Her hand reportedly moved on its own, compelled, reaching out towards the boy's face, the one she'd been looking at.
Oh, this is bad. This is really bad.
And the description when she touches it, it's just horrifying. She expected, I don't know, dry paint, plaster, dust, but it was wet, warm, and red. The quote from the source is just stark, not paint.
Not paint? Oh God, what was it? Blood.
It implies it, doesn't it? She instinctively pulls back, stumbles, slips on whatever it was.
And where she touched?
Where she touched, leaving that red smear, a shape started to appear in the plaster. Right there on the wall, a new face.
Don't tell me.
Hers, her own face appearing on the wall.
Oh, Lena.
The accounts of her last moments, they're really grim. She tried to scream, but no sound came out, just silence.
And then?
By the next morning, she was just gone. Vanished. Her bed hadn't been slept in. The only thing left behind was her sketchbook.
The one she was always drawing in.
Yeah, found open to a blank page. But it was the page where, supposedly, a drawing she'd made of room 17 had been just the day before. The drawing was gone, too.
Erased. Or absorbed. Like her.
The sources don't explicitly say, but the implication is chilling, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So what happened next? The police.
Yep. The police were called. They searched the whole place. Eventually, they had to break down the door to room 17.
And inside.
Just dust. That heavy stillness. And one new painting on the wall.
Lena.
Lena. Depicted in a silent scream, they locked the room up again right away. But clearly the story didn't just end there for the boarding house.
No, I imagine not. How could it?
The whole atmosphere of the place apparently shifted. Guests started whispering about nightmares. Some reported seeing faces, staring at them from weird places like mirrors.
Oof. Residual effects.
Seems like it. The source material mentions a guest on the second floor who just vanished. Poof. Left tea boiling on the stove like they were interrupted mid-task.
Gone without a trace.
Completely. And another story tells of a woman whose phone accidentally recorded her while she was sleeping.
Oh. What did it read?
Her sleep talking, repeating unknown names over and over again. Names no one recognized.
Creepy. And these disappearances. They connect back to the room.
That's the terrifying link. Each time someone vanished from the boarding house, a new painting would reportedly appear on the walls inside room 17.
Oh, wow. So it kept collecting them.
That's what it sounds like. And critically, the accounts emphasize this detail. Each new painting was more lifelike than the last.
More lifelike? What does that even mean?
That's the profound question, isn't it? What are these paintings? Are they paint at all?
So the sources have theories about that.
They do. Some people in the accounts didn't believe they were traditional paintings. They thought the walls themselves somehow absorbed something essential from the people who disappeared.
Absorbed them.
Yeah, that the faces belonged to real people who just made the mistake of lingering too long near the room, or maybe listening too closely to whatever it whispered.
Listening. So the room speaks. Or whispers.
That's part of the legend, yeah. And the physical space around the room started reflecting this too. The hallway outside room 17 got noticeably colder, they said. Unusually still. Described as feeling like something breathing under the floorboards.
Okay, that's just deeply unpleasant. Breathing under the floorboards.
And then there's the story of the maintenance man.
What happened to him?
The accounts say he put his ear to the door of room 17, just listened for a moment after that, never spoke another word, completely mute. And sometimes he's apparently seen drawing faces on walls. Faces he swears he's never seen before, but they resemble the ones in the room.
Wow. Just from listening at the door.
Seems so. It highlights how pervasive its influence became.
One of the biggest mysteries, though, must be where the room even came from, right?
Absolutely. The source material makes a point of this. No one seems to remember who built it. There are no blueprints, no records of it ever being constructed as part of the house.
So it just appeared?
That's one of the theories within the sources. Some accounts suggest it might have shown up after a fire that damaged that part of the house. Others propose it was never meant to be a room in the normal sense at all.
Like what? What else could it be?
The theories get pretty dark. Maybe a doorway to somewhere else, or Even a feeding ground.
A feeding ground. That word again. It really drives home that predatory idea.
It does. It suggests the room isn't just passive, waiting for victims. It's actively seeking them out.
And the sources back this up, this idea of it calling to people.
Yeah, they mention it doesn't just trap the living, it calls to them. There's that specific account of a tenant who started dreaming about the paintings,
Right.
then heard her name being whispered,
And then she vanished.
and then she vanished. It really implies a deliberate, malevolent will behind the room.
So where does that leave things in the narrative?
Well, the narratives in the source material conclude by saying room 17 is still there, still locked, yes. But the final line is pretty chilling. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter that it's locked. Why?
Because, the sources claim, it knows how to wait, it knows how to whisper. The implication is its power isn't contained by a simple locked door. It reaches out.
Wow. Okay, so that wraps up our deep dive into these really disturbing accounts of Room 17. Its ability to ensnare, consume, leave behind this silent painted record.
Yeah, the source material definitely leaves us with a stark, cautionary tale. It's quite something.
It really is. And thinking about it, if these accounts are true, if a place can actively call to you, wait for you, absorb you like that.
What does that suggest? About the power certain places, or maybe even just stories, can hold over us. It's a disturbing thought.
It is. And considering that final horrifying caution given in the sources, about recognizing yourself, what happens when a face you see looking back at you, maybe from a mirror, maybe from a shadow, suddenly starts to look exactly like your own?
Yeah, that's the question to leave you with, isn't it? A truly unsettling thought.